Hello again, everyone. This is Zombie Kids Rule, and I'm back with what I want to do is a comparison video between a old Dungeons and Dragons game called Eye of the Beholder, first of a trilogy. I think it came out in like around 1990 or so, and I recreated the character generation process in RPG Maker MZ. I recreated it for the most part almost 100% true to the original design, following the rules as I could discern them from the character generation process. So if you're not familiar with Eye of the Beholder, let me show you what it looks like, and I will highlight some things. I will highlight some things that I did not specifically recreate. So when you go into Eye of the Beholder, you have your character generation, you have a box that gives instructions to the player, you have 4 portraits, you have 4 name slots, and you have a button down here which will eventually be the play button. Even though this is the only portrait that is flashing, you can actually pick any of these, so I'll just pick this one. Once you click on a portrait, it gives you this sparkly animation. I did not try to recreate this, and I did not try to recreate the exact background, for instance, assets. Instead, I focused on functionality and the assets that I have. So when you click on a portrait, now these are no longer clickable. You have to finish this character. You are presented with a race. In Eye of the Beholder, these are the races you have: human, elf, half-elf, dwarf, gnome, and halfling. You'll notice that they also put gender, male and female, into the race selection. That's just how they did it. And you also see this hover over functionality. I did not try to recreate the hover over functionality. I have done that before. I have done a tutorial for simple hover over, but I decided not to do that. I decided to just do a simpler double click. Now, after you select a race, classes are based on the race that you select. So a human can only be a single class character, but they can be paladins. No other race can be a paladin. So humans can be these single class. Elves can be these classes, but you'll notice there's no paladin option. Half-elves have the most options available, but again, no paladin option. Dwarves have much fewer. There's no paladin option, but there's also no ranger and no mage option. Gnome, again, male and female really doesn't make a difference. Gnome, no paladin, no ranger, no mage. And then halfling, same thing, fewest. No paladin, no ranger, no mage. Very few options for a halfling. So you essentially pick your race, whatever race you want. We'll just go with human male first. And then after you select a class, you will be offered an alignment. So normally, most classes have 9 alignments: 3 good, 3 neutral, 3 evil. Rangers can only be good. They have the 3 good classes. Paladins can only be lawful good. And thieves can be all except lawful good. That's just the rules that Eye of the Beholder uses. It might be based on 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons from back then. There is an additional restriction in that if you have a paladin in your party, a thief can no longer be evil. Now, in Eye of the Beholder, evil really the alignments didn't have much impact whatsoever. They were just something you were allowed to choose. So we're going to go ahead and select just plain old fighter. We'll select any of these, doesn't matter, chaotic, neutral. Then you're presented with you have 4 character portraits visible, and then you can scroll through them all the way back to the front. Okay, or you can scroll backwards, right, forwards and backwards, and this gives you the highlights of your character. You have your race and gender, class, you have your 6 attributes, randomly determined, armor class, which is a default of 10, and it is influenced by dexterity, your hit points, which is also influenced by constitution, and then level. Eye of the Beholder, characters start off with 5,000 experience points. So for many of them, that equals level 3. For Thieves, that's level 4. And then for multi-class, it's broken up. You basically divide the experience points by the number of classes that they have. So in order to proceed, you have to select a portrait. So we'll just select a portrait here for our fighter. Once you select a portrait, you have these 4 choices: reroll, modify, faces, keep. Faces just takes you back to this selection option. Okay. Rerolls the attributes, which may change armor class and will probably change hit points. So reroll, and you can see that they're all changing value. Okay. Now, Eye of the Beholder also had a functionality of modify, and in the game manual, when it came out, the game manual actually talked about, hey, maybe you want to recreate your tabletop D&D characters for this game. So we'll go ahead and give you a modify so that you can actually make them exactly like some character you had before. And so all of these attributes can be increased or decreased. Okay, and if they are fighter type, they can be increased beyond 18. They can get the 1801 all the way up to 18100. And then again, all of these can be increased or decreased. As dexterity goes up, you'll notice that the armor class changes. So once it hits 15, it will start influencing armor class, okay, up to the maximum of, depending on if you have a racial benefit or not. And then if you reduce dexterity, then it's going to also change your armor class, okay. Before I show you Constitution, I can max out their hit points. And it just so happens that fighters have a 1d10 hit points per level. So 3 levels times 1d10 is a maximum of 30. But if I change Constitution, then it will also change the maximum hit points that are available. Okay, up to the maximum bonus. Okay, so Constitution of 18 is plus 4. All right, so 30 plus 3 times 4 is 42. Now, as I reduce Constitution, it will reduce the hit points. Okay, and that's how you can modify your character. And you select OK, and you're now back to reroll, modify, faces, or keep. I will show you one more thing because I actually recreated this differently. From my understanding, I don't know if this was a mistake or what have you in Eye of the Beholder, but fighter types, from my understanding, don't have a straight 18. If you are a fighter type, then if you have an 18, you always roll for your bonus. So when I recreated this, if it's a fighter type, when you reduce this, it doesn't go to straight 18. In my recreation, it goes to 17 instead. So again, I don't know if that was a mistake with Eye of the Beholder, or maybe I'm just forgetting what the rules were way back when. So regardless, I just wanted to point that out. So reroll, modify faces, and then when you keep, you get to name them. So we'll just call this person Bill, why not? Okay. And once you create a character, you can either view them, and when you view them, you can delete them or you can keep them. And then you can create your 3 other characters. Eye of the Beholder does not let you start the game until you have a full party of 4. Now, if you delete, that person's gone. There's no option for are you sure or anything like that. It's just you click delete, it's gone. All right, so that's the character generation process. I'll quickly show you some other highlights and then show you what happens when you're done. So we'll just go here and say half-elf male. Let's go with fighter mage thief. Pick any of these, doesn't matter. Pick a portrait, and now you'll see that the level 112, which means that reroll still works the same way. Okay, but modify, their hit points much less, right? Because they're a level 1 fighter, level 1 mage, and level 2 thief. So hit points much less, and that's with a constitution modifier bonus. So there's not a lot of hit points for this particular character. Everything else works exactly the same. So if I click OK, I can change the face, I can reroll, I can modify, I can keep, and we'll just call this person blue. And then you just keep proceeding. So click here, we'll go with a dwarf female, make them a thief, right? And make them neutral good. Just pick a portrait, and then reroll, modify faces, all stay the same. But you'll notice that the thief is level 4 to begin with. So they have a higher level for starting. Everything else works exactly the same. Okay, we'll keep that, name them red, and then if we're here, we'll just pick halfling female, why not? Go with cleric, and then lawful neutral, doesn't really matter. Again, you can scroll through all the portraits. Everything else at that point stays the same. You can re-roll as many times as you want. You can modify specifically. Now, I will show you this. Modify. This is a non-fighter type. So that means strength is capped at 18. There is no strength bonus. Okay, so that is one of the limitations. We'll click OK. We'll click Keep. Call this person Raven because they have black hair. And then go here. And then, now this one, we'll go ahead and pick, let's see, Paladin, Lawful Good. Sure, pick the version with no eye. And then the other thing I'll show you is that I had forgotten about in D&D, but you'll notice that Constitution isn't really changing, and when you modify it, Constitution can't go below 17 for a Paladin. Okay, so Constitution can't go below 17. Everything else works exactly the same. So once I keep this character and I name him, we'll call her Patchy. All right. So now there's a play button, and there's a different message, right? You can either view your party or you can play. I can still view the different party members. So in theory, I could change them, right? I could delete one and make another one. And if I'm happy, I click play and the game starts. Okay, so that's the character generation process in Eye of the Beholder. Okay, so let me show you how I recreated it. I'm not going to show you how I recreated it. I'm just going to show you the recreation in RPG Maker MZ. So again, I did not try to replicate the background. I just chose some assets that I have. Didn't put music in for playing in the background, but we have our character generation. We have our information panel over here with the information to the characters, to the player. We have our 4 boxes. We have our 4 name boxes, and we have what will be our play button. I can pick any of these. I'm going to go ahead and pick this one. Instead of that sparkly thing, I did a flashing green, and these boxes are no longer highlightable. You can't select them. Here is the race selection. You notice that there's no hover over. Instead, you click and it highlights it. All right, and then if you decide you want to keep it, you click again and it gives you your classes. So this is, again, I tried to be faithful to the replication. So elf, here's the classes for elf. Half elf, here's the classes for half elf. Dwarf, gnome, whoops, and halfling. Okay, so tried to be faithful to the reproduction of that. Same things, applicable as far as alignment goes. So fighters can be any alignment. Paladins can only be lawful good. Rangers can only be the 3 goods. And thief can be anything except lawful good. Okay, so again, try to be try to be replicating exactly what they did there. So we'll just pick thief this time. Sure, neutral good, and then instead of 4 portraits, I have 3. and then instead of the arrows being over here, they're down here. But you can scroll through all the portraits, and these are just RPG Maker portraits that I just randomly decided to include, right? And you can go backwards, right? And you can pick any of these portraits that you want. So we'll go ahead and pick here. So we now have our portrait. These were centered in Eye of the Beholder, but I just left justified them. So human male, thief. Here's our 6 attributes: armor class, hit points, level 4. Faces, reroll, modify, keep. Faces lets you pick a new face, right? This is a human thief, so let's just go with this guy. Reroll, it's going to just reroll the information, the statistics, right? Okay, following the same rules. And then modify, same functionality. So this is non-fighter type, so it can be a maximum of 18. There we go. I did put a buzzer in there, but it can go up and down. All of these can be changed. Okay. Now, armor class default of 10. As dexterity goes up, armor class will change. Okay. And then as it goes down, armor class will change. And then Constitution, same thing. So hit points, what's the maximum? Thief has a 1 die 6 times 4 levels, so it's a maximum of 24. There we go. Add the Constitution. Okay. And then increase it to its maximum. Okay. And then if I decrease Constitution, this will change accordingly until it's down to its threshold maximum. And again, of course, Constitution, all of these can be changed. Okay, click OK. Again, I can just re-roll if I want to. I can modify. I can do the faces. When I click Keep, this is standard RPG Maker name input. You know, if I was making this as a real game, I'd probably try to do something different, but I can either press the escape key or I can press this key to erase. And then I did not do a keyboard plugin, so I have to type it in here, but we'll just call this person, let's call this Bill again, right? So there's Bill. Now, so we have Bill. Again, I can view Bill, and I can either close and keep, or I can delete. Okay, we'll keep them for now. I can now click any of these other options. So we'll click this one. And now you'll notice that these cannot be selected. Okay, because I have to finish this. So we'll just go down here and say half-elf female. Let's see, fighter mage thief. Doesn't matter what alignment. I get to scroll through my stuff again. Doesn't matter what I pick. Fighter mage thief, why not her? And then reroll, modify works the same way. Notice the levels, right? Levels are based on that 5,000 experience points. Can change the faces. All right. And then if I keep, again, name this person, whoops, that's right, I don't have a keyboard plugin. Okay, Jane. All right, so there's Bill and Jane. Now these two options are available, and these two options are available as well. So we'll go ahead and make another character. We'll do our paladin, right? So we choose our paladin, lawful good. We'll just click read. All these buttons work the same. Now, since this is a fighter type, we can modify this up to 1801 all the way up to 18100, and as I highlighted before, when you get down to 1801, my understanding was there really shouldn't be a strict 18 for a fighter type, so it goes directly to 17. So there's that. I did that differently, apparently. Everything else works the same, right? Dexterity modifies armor class, Constitution modifies hit points, and then we just go ahead and keep, and we'll call this one, we'll actually name this Reed, name him Reed. Now, these can be viewed still. Again, now these can be viewed, right? Or I can select this box. So I'll select the last one. We'll go halfling female, and we're going to pick cleric. Okay, and then as I don't, and again, have to pick your just have to pick your portrait, and I don't remember if I showed this or not, but this will be capped at 18 because it's a non-fighter type. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Halflings have a -1 strength penalty, so they actually have a maximum of 17 strength. So in Eye of the Beholder, certain races had a plus or a minus to particular attributes. So that's pretty much that. Everything else works the same. Reroll, modify faces, keep. I'll keep. Name this one. Let's name. Whoops! Again, I keep forgetting I don't have that keyboard plugin. And then now I can view all of them. Okay, I have the play option. Now, if I decide to get rid of one, let's get rid of Bill because we don't like Bill. If I delete, now I have one more portrait I can select. The play button is gone, and these can still be clicked on. Whoops, close. These can still be clicked on, or I can generate my last character. So we'll go here, and what I was showing you before was cleric, neutral good. Now this one shouldn't have a strength penalty, so we'll just pick Priscilla. We'll go modify, and this should be a max of 18. Yeah, there we go. And then everything else works exactly the same. So we'll go OK, and we'll keep, and we'll put, we'll call her Girl Reed because she looks like Reed's sister is what she looks like, and that's it. So you can make your 4 characters, you can view them, you can delete them. Pretty much followed all the same rules of Eye of the Beholder. Did notice there's a couple things I still need to implement if I really want to, but I'm not planning on using this in a game. I just wanted to see if I could actually recreate it and if I could actually do it in MZ, and the answer is yes. So that's pretty much it. Anyway, hopefully this was interesting. Hopefully some people like what you see. If you are interested in how I made this, leave a comment, let me know, and I can see about trying to find time to do a tutorial, do a walkthrough tutorial of how I did this. Again, so if you do want to see that, leave a comment, let me know. Other than that, I hope you guys are all having a great holiday season. Hope you're having a lot of fun making games. I know this was really fun. I actually learned a lot from doing this. This was a great experience. Can't believe how much I had to fix when every time I thought I was done, I kept finding things that weren't working right. It was either an error in my logic, or it was just attention to detail mistakes. So had a lot of troubleshooting in playtesting, but anyway, it was a very fun thing to do, and I'm glad I did it. I learned quite a bit from doing it. So anyway, thank you very much, folks, for watching. If you do like these videos, please consider liking, subscribing, getting notifications, and other than that, again, if you want to know how this was made, drop a comment, let me know. I can try to prioritize making a tutorial for it. And other than that, I hope you guys are all having a great time, and I will see everybody later. Thanks. Bye.